Dear viewers, what is the difference between the growth mindset and the fixed mindset? This is our fascinating topic of today. And as we explore the powerful framework of emergence. And as always, a very warm welcome to Power Minutes, 15 minutes to inspire you with great mindset. And this is with myself, Dr. Alex, and the one and only Maria Luisa Engels. We have today and every month for you really good mindset takeaways that you can use to become a better version of yourself. And before we dive in today's topic, as always, please make sure you scan the QR code that you can see at the top of the screen, because you will get access to a lot of great freebies we both give you to have a taste of what is possible. And also you will have access to our free overview course, but also to our course Roadmap to Your Dreams. And we will actually make reference later in today's Power Minutes, but have a look and make sure to subscribe as well to get regular updates. And now let's dive into Emergence. And emergence, of course, is something that is a framework that has been explored by many, many different scientific streams. We're going to bring you two of them today. And to start with, let's hand over to you, dear Maria Luisa.
Yes, emergence is a term. I have to be honest, I didn't know this a couple of years ago. It was like I had to take a look to the dictionary, but it's a very universal concept that basically says, and there are different definitions, but the definition I have is how large entities in all fields can create patterns based on the interactions of smaller entities. And this applies to biology. For example, if we take a look to the human brain is able to do unbelievable things just because of the interaction, how neurons work together. But a single neuron is not able to do that kind of things. It's just in this interplay with the other neurons. And maybe if you take a look to the sky on autumn or in spring, you may see that birds that are all flying together like one big bird. And this also shows the power of emergence. It's not like there's one single bird living. No. In fact, what happens is the interaction between all the birds, how they need to move, how they need to change their speed, that looks like a dance that is very harmonious. And this is what is possible when we understand this principle of emergence. I can hand over you.
That is such a nice image. I love the image of the birds because it actually visualizes how emergence happens in large groups, right? It's such a nice perspective. Now, the perspective I want to add to that is the perspective of relational psychology, which is basically a way of looking at other people or at entities in our life from a very becoming flow or evolution type of perspective. What this means, and let's use some examples out of everyday life for your professional development, for example. Now, one great example is learning. You can see learning in a very static way where you say, okay, I want to learn the one best method of doing X until day, I don't know, 30 of this month. And you see this as kind of a fixed entity and something that is completely closed as kind of the knowledge you want to acquire. Now, an emergence or becoming way of seeing that, of seeing learning, would be to see that as a constant evolution and an everyday journey of your learning that is actually never ending. So you would take a different perspective. You would say, okay, I can't actually fail at this as well, because learning is something I need to do to keep my mind constantly working and being up to date, right? So now I'm taking reference as well to the mind. So may I play the ball over to you?
Yes. No, it's a really great analogy. It's like one is like thinking in boxes, and the other one is like thinking like you're a river that there is in constant evolution.
Yes.
And thinking in boxes is like, okay, I'm gonna do until here, and then I'm done. But no, it's never like this. It's like everything is moving between a structure and a process all the time. So you build a
Exactly.
structure, and then you destroy that structure because it doesn't serve you any longer. And so this is amazing. But we need some
Oh, may
kind of
I just chip in there? Because you said you destroy the structure. Dear viewers, you might have come across all that hype. It was about, I think, some years ago, it started about disruption. That is what you just said. Destroying is disruption of your own ideas you have of something. And that is also the power of emergence, right? That you have this kind of perspective of taking a step back and saying, okay, let's disrupt my own view of it. Maybe there's a completely different way of seeing what I thought to be the knowledge of, so
but
that was the bracket.
it's another, yes, it's another way to adapt to the changing environment, which is at the end
Adaptation.
what, yes, what we have been doing since we are here on the earth. And
Exactly.
so and another so these are aspects of emergence. For example, emergence is very dynamic, so it helps
Hmm.
us either if it's individual or if it's collective. We can apply this concept to organizations of any kind. Emergence is what shapes the culture of a country, of a company, or also we see it in market behaviors. When we understand how consumers and sellers interact with each other, so it's really a very extensive concept. And I think the interesting question is how can we leverage that
Hmm.
personally?
Yes, and this is where our course comes in, right? Because, for example, let's use an example out of our course. We talk in our course also about self-imposed limits. And those of you who are regular viewers, you know this is our favorite topic in terms of how can we constantly work on ourselves to overcome the self-imposed barriers of thinking, patterns that have kind of established themselves in our way of doing things and thinking things and saying things that maybe don't serve for the present context anymore. Now, one of the things we explore in the course is the fear of failure. And if we take a perspective from that perspective of emergence, all of a sudden failure is not failure anymore. Failure is something really good that helps us learn, right?
Yes, if we use it, if we see it really on frame it as a learning experience, yes. But if it is a paralyzing experience, because we want to hold the past, we want to stay in what we know, even if we know it's not good, and
Hmm.
we know we need to change, but it's that we will struggle most of the people. And I think this has a very deep connections with emergence, because what happens when we have those limiting beliefs that we hold, we are not able to connect with other people. We are like in our bubble and we are not able to change. And this is interfering in our ability to change on a global level. So I think
Exactly.
yeah, pays really off to take a deeper look to ourselves and what are we holding back. And,
This is also what you're saying is this thing about what does it do, the power of emergence. What does it do with yourself? If you take that perspective of everything is in flow, everything is constantly changing, there are no fixed unities. What you just said is very important because we take a look at other people as well as different, simply, and difference becomes something normal. So it's not anymore, oh, if I meet a person from XYZ country, it needs to be like that. It's not predefined. It's something that makes us more open. And openness, as we all know, is something that actually unites people rather than dividing them. So
absolutely.
this perspective is so useful. It actually has, for myself, if I may use a personal example, it has made me far more tolerant in my approaches to avoid judging people before actually knowing them, right? How can
Yeah.
we, I mean, we all know, and we talk about this, I think, in session 2 of our course, how can we overcome this self-limiting belief of everyone? This is something that we all have as a cognitive bias of stereotypes. And it's the first step, as we say in the course, is self-awareness, right? But then the second step is reminding ourselves everyone is different. It doesn't serve if I compare myself, or even if I think, a person from country XYZ needs to be like. I don't know, I don't know the person. So I can't judge him or her on the grounds of where he or she is from.
Yes. You know what? It's sadly how many people really rely on these first impressions on people.
Yeah,
But these first impressions are based on your biases, on your socialization, on what you have learned, and what is a norm in your culture. But is it actually true? Do you have any objective information about this person that you just met?
exactly.
Not
So
really.
this was when we talk about overcoming self-limiting belief, we talk a lot about self-awareness, right? And the self-awareness is actually coming right back in the circle, what you said before, in terms of constantly disrupting our thoughts. And we will do a next session on this, the art of actually posing questions, or how do you say that, of putting questions to yourself on a daily basis. Because we have to, first of all, when we challenge, we have to challenge ourselves daily. This is a micro habit, right? Myself, I try to educate myself to constantly disrupt. Oh, what have I just thought? Is that correct? Is that right in terms of this context? Is it, you know? And we will do a whole session on that. So I'm looking forward to that, because it's lovely to have that attitude, but at the same time, it's not that easy, isn't it?
No, because we leave our thoughts. We believe our thoughts are true, and most of them are invented.
Another cognitive bias. Yeah.
Yes. So it's about really, especially when you have to take a decision or when you have to do something important, and there are some thoughts there in between that may hold you back. Ask yourself, is this really true, what I'm thinking? Can I have some information somewhere else? Can I ask anybody to just to see more options? I will talk, as you say, next time.
Exactly. Shall we do another example in terms of everyday life, how this perspective of evolution, emergence, becoming can serve us?
Yes, I have a wonderful example of a company which is what everybody knows, which is Pixar. You know, the a film company, and they have a concept which is living emergence, where they have this so-called brain trust meetings. And these brain trust meetings, group of individuals which are employees of the company, they just offer candid feedback on the projects that the company is just working on different stages of the project. They are not necessarily the managers of the employees that are working on the project. It's just independent. And the feedback they provided, the employees that working on the project, they are free to use that feedback or not. So there's no obligation. In this way, they create really a safe environment to learn from each other. And what happens is, as a result of these brain trust meetings, the movie Toy Story, that I think everybody knows here, at the beginning they had several storytelling problems, and they have colors that were a bit dull, a bit dark. And because of these brain trust meetings, they were able to really refurbish the whole film that ultimately become a success. So this
That's a
is
nice
something.
example, isn't it?
Yeah. So
And
it's
it also
connecting
shows in the organizational side, as you just said, sorry to interrupt you, the organizational side is really important, because if we take this perspective of emergence, it allows for feedback, as you just said, to be in a safe space. And for the feedback giver, it's something, it makes you less dogmatic, right? And for the feedback receiver, it makes you more receptive, because you can either take it or leave it. It's up to you. It's not obligatory, as you said. And also, there's no dogmatism about what is the one best right method. It's more like, okay, we had the impression that the colors are really dark. Can we do something about it? And then you have an open discussion about it. And that enables as well this, as you said, psychological safety. So again, it's about this perspective opens up to flexibility and its openness, actually.
Yes, and I think the same kind of openness we can have with ourselves. So you don't need to ask anybody. Just ask yourself. Just take a look. The learning journey is the same for your own and for a group. So it's the same principles apply. And this
Exactly.
is, by the way, when we are showing all the time in our programs, in our courses, we're teaching people that these are universal principles, that they have been there always. And the difficulty is not knowing the principles. It's about how to apply them, really.
How to apply them in everyday life, in everyday work. That's the hard part, isn't it? Yeah. And maybe, shall we do we have time for last example? As we just talked also about dogmatism, I want to add another example. This perspective really helps me to say, even if I have 30 years of experience, there will still be a new way of evolving in my science or in the field of my work, in my experience. There's always new stuff, new trends. So also learning becomes something. We talked about this in the session about multi-potentialities. Remember, we can learn from any different sources. There's no dogmatism about what is the one best source or the one best book. or you choose actually your sources on an everyday basis.
Yes, and we are in the era of information. Information is available to everyone. Before, information was only reserved to some people, and they were just deciding which information they release. Now you can choose. So, and learning is not just about sitting there and reading a book or watching something on the internet. You're learning from everybody, from the people on the street, from you choose. And this is the power we have now, that we are becoming just aware because we have more time to do this than ever before.
Exactly. Now, we are unfortunately already at the end of these wonderful 15 minutes. So, dear viewers, thank you as always for watching. And please make sure you put in your calendar the next session, which is in July. We have put it up on LinkedIn already, and it will be about the art of asking questions to yourself and to others and to everything we learn. Have I forgotten anything about that topic?
No, no, it's about it really, the art of the power of inquiry to yourself. And we will explore that really interesting topic. So see you next time, and thank you for watching.
See you next time.